China plans for a world without American technology. Chinese leaders plot a path to go it alone, vowing to spend big to fill gaps in innovation and avoid dependence on the United States and its allies. China is freeing up tens of billions of dollars for its tech industry to borrow. It's cataloging the sectors where the United States or others could cut off access to crucial technologies. And when its leaders released their most important economic plans, they laid out their ambitions to become an innovation superpower beholden to none. Before we continue, if you like what we talk about on this channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. I'll give you a few seconds to do that and we'll continue. Anticipating efforts by the Biden administration to continue to challenge China's technological rise, the country's leaders are accelerating plans to go it alone, seeking to address vulnerabilities in the country's economy that could thwart its ambitions in a wide range of industries from smartphones to jet engines. China has made audacious and ambitious plans before in 2015, but is falling short of its goals. The country's new 5-year plan, made in 2021, called tech development a matter of national security, not just economic development, a break from the previous plan. The plan pledged to increase spending on research and development by 7% annually, including the public and private sectors. That figure was higher than the budget increase for China's military, which is slated to grow 6.8% in year 2021. Year 2022, raising the prospect of an era of looming Cold War-like competition with the United States. The spending pledges follow 4 tumultuous years during which President Donald Trump rattled and angered China by restricting access to American technology for some of its corporate giants, including Huawei. The experience has hardened a view that the United States, even under a new administration, is determined to undercut the country's advancement, and that China can no longer rely on the West for a stable supply of the technologies that help drive its economic growth. The road to the global peaks of technology is decidedly uphill. The Chinese government had previously set out to spend 2.5% of GDP on research and development in the last 5 years, but actually expenditures failed to reach that target. One sector that China has struggled with is semiconductor chips, which much of its electronic production relies on. Bewilderingly complex production has hindered the progress of Chinese businesses, which instead import the majority of the semiconductors they require. Despite tens of billions of dollars invested, China's domestic chip production met only 15.9% of its chip demand in 2020, barely higher than the 15.1% share it accounted for in 2014, according to the IC Insights, an American semiconductor research firm. China's Premier Li Keqiang in year 2021 detailed proposals to accelerate the development of high-end semiconductors, operating systems, computer processors, cloud computing, and artificial intelligence. The new strategy, to a degree, rebrands the country's previous Made in China 2025 campaign, which sought to propel it to the lead in a range of cutting-edge technologies. It broadly set out to produce 70% of the core components that Chinese manufacturers needed by 2025. The plan scared trade partners and contributed to a punishing trade war with the United States. China wants to reduce its dependency on the world, not to reduce its trade and interactions, but to ensure that it is not vulnerable to the kind of strategic blackmail against China that it has historically used against others by Western powers. A confrontation has been brewing for more than a decade. Long-held Chinese policies to free themselves from reliance on foreign tech got a boost in 2013 after disclosures by Edward Snowden about National Security Agency hacks that relied on American firms. Chinese officials have repeatedly emphasized the danger of choke points, where the United States controls key foundational technologies. At a news conference in Beijing, Xiao Yaqing, who leads the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology, announced a review of 41 sectors for empty spots that could cause the tech supply chain to break during crucial times. Beijing is backing this effort with money and rhetoric. China Development Bank is preparing over $60 billion in loans for more than 1,000 firms key to strategic innovation and had raised $30 billion for a new government-backed microchip investment fund. A Chinese Academy of Engineering official Ni Guangnan believes that the country should create a Chinese system that could supplant the combined systems of Intel, Microsoft, Oracle, and others that have historically dominated computing. China should also increase the world's reliance on its telecom infrastructure technology to form a powerful deterrent against future embargoes, he added. The tech supply chain remains hugely complex and resolutely global, and too much meddling in the markets can have unforeseen consequences. Top-down jockeying by the United States and China over microchips has in part triggered a chip shortage. Neither country can imminently attain true self-reliance in the myriad cutting-edge technologies required to run a modern economy and military. In place of overarching policies, a proxy fight is emerging, with both sides working to secure missing pieces that come from other countries. Many American allies have been happy to see their companies take advantage of a Chinese market increasingly emptied of American companies. ASML, a Dutch company that makes the tools required to mass-produce microchips, extended a contract to provide equipment to China's largest semiconductor maker, SMIC. Even though Washington put the firm on a blacklist, the extension did not break any restrictions but showed how there are limits to the United States' ability to cut off supplies. Decisions like that could continue to frustrate President Biden, who has cast China as the country's most significant foreign policy challenge. China hopes to undercut American efforts to isolate it by entwining itself with major economies, including those politically allied with the United States. China is certainly speaking and acting with a view of discouraging third countries from joining any gang the United States might organize against the country. The goal is to buy time needed by China to seal up the remaining vulnerabilities in its armor. Whatever hopes Chinese leaders had about a diplomatic reset after the Trump years appears to have already waned. Thanks for your time. If you like what we talk about on this channel, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Till next time, bye.